In this video, we're going to be taking a look at variables and expressions. Now, the goal for today is to be able to use variables to write algebraic expressions. Now, first of all, we need to take a look at what an algebraic expression even is. Okay, and I want you to write this down in your notes. Now, it's important to know that an algebraic expression kind of consists of a couple ingredients. Just like think about chocolate chip cookies, you need certain ingredients and things like that. Algebraic expression needs the same exact thing. Okay, so an algebraic expression is a mathematical phrase which involves variables, numbers, and operations. Okay, so when you have these three things, variables, numbers, and operations, that will create an algebraic expression. Okay, now what we're going to do is take a look at solving these algebraic expressions, okay, and we're going to evaluate these. Now, a lot of times with algebra, you need to find the variable, okay, and that's just a letter that's representing, or a symbol that's representing a number, okay, and for this beginning part, they're actually giving us the variable. Okay, I'm giving it to you, so you don't need to worry about it at all. Okay, as far as figuring out what it is. So we can see these are algebraic expressions. We have our number, operation, and variable. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is take a look at number one. We'll start out with some easy ones, and we'll get in some tougher ones here. Okay, so if we're taking a look at 16 plus b, okay, now let's say that b, we're going to say it's going to equal 5 here. Okay, we're not going to say it equals 5 and 8. We're just going to say that it equals 5. Okay, so what we do is we can plug in, we're going to write this out first of all, 16. Okay, so we're 16, and then since we know that b is representing the number 5, the variable b is representing 5, we just plug 5 right here. And then we just solve this simple math problem. 16 plus 5 equals 21. Okay, now we're going to take a look at number 2 now, which can be a little tricky. Now it's important to know that whenever we're dealing with algebra, okay, whenever there is a digit right next to a variable just like this without an operation, it's always understood that the operation is multiplication. Okay, so 5b actually represents 5 times b. Okay, so we know that our variable for b, or the variable b, represents the number 5. So we're just going to simply write this out, plugging in the number and getting rid of that variable. 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, so like I said before, I am giving you the value of this variable. You do not need to find the value. Now, any variable can represent any number. We're just using the number 5 for right now. Okay, let's do a couple with me. So I want you to get out your pencil. Let's work through a couple problems together. So we're taking a look at number 3, 22 minus b. Now we know already that b equals 5. So we'll just simply write 22 minus 5. Okay, so we're going to remove that variable and plug it in with the number 5. 22 minus 5 equals 17. Simple enough. Very easy because they're giving us the value of this variable. Okay, we'll take a look at one more, then I'll have you do a couple by yourself. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. We have b plus 18. So we know that the value of that variable b is 5. So we're just going to plug in 5 for that variable again. 5 plus 18. And we know that 5 plus 18 is 23. Okay, now what I want you to do is pause this video, and I want you to do numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8 at your seats. And when you're finished with 5, 6, 7, and 8, I want you to press play, and I will have the answers for you. And remember that the value of the variable b is 5. Okay, so complete these problems while you pause the video. When you press play, I will have the answers for you. Pause the video now. Okay, now we have the answers to these problems. For number 5, we had 40 divided by 5. That gave us 8. Number 6, 5 times 7 is 35. Number 7, 88 plus 5 is 93. And number 8, 5 minus 5 is 0. Now we're going to take a look at some tougher type of problems. They're just two-step problems that we have to do, okay? And it's a little bit different than the ones before because we're dealing with parentheses. Now, as far as order of operations, and we haven't really dug really deep into this just yet this year. However, whenever we're dealing with order of operations, whenever something's in parentheses, you always do that first before you do anything else. And then from there, you can work your problem out. Okay, so if we have 14 times t divided by 3, what we need to do first of all is plug in 15 for that variable of t. Okay, so we can just rewrite this problem out. So we'll do 14 times, and then we'll just plug in 15 for that variable, because that was given to us, divided by 3. Okay, so we'll rewrite the problem, plug it in the variable. Now what we're going to do first of all is work this problem out inside the variable. We have 15 divided by 3. That's going to give us 5. Okay, then I'll just bring down my 14. Keep the multiplication sign there. We don't eliminate that at all. Okay, so now we do 14 times 5. Now we will set this up off to the side. 14 times 5. We don't really want to do this in our head. So 14 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Put my 0 here. Carry the 2. And 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 70 for my answer. Okay, so it's important that you always do the problem in the parentheses first. Let's take a look at another one. Now we're going to work this problem out. We have 8 plus 3 times c. Okay, so the first thing what we will do is write this problem out, plugging in our digit for the variable. Okay, so we're just going to write 8 plus 3. Whenever there's a variable right next to a digit without any operation with algebra, it's always understood that it's multiplication. So we'll do 3 times 9. We don't just write 3, 9 because we're not dealing with a variable anymore. Okay, so now that we have this figured out or written out, we're going to first of all start with the number in parentheses. 3 times 9 is going to give me 27. Then we can just drop our 8 along with the addition sign. 8 plus 27 will give us 35 for the answer. Okay, now I want you to do this next one with me, so I want you to get out your pencil and math journal and write this problem out as I do it with you. Okay, so we're going to work this problem out together, so I want you to write this out. And it's important to know that the value of that variable, letter z, is 24. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is write this problem out. Then after that, we're going to plug in this 24 for the variable. Okay, so we'll do 24 now divided by 3. Keep this in parentheses, signifying that we need to do that before we do anything else. Plus 14. Use a different color ink here. 24 divided by 3, that's going to give us 8. And then we just add our 14 at the end of this 8 for the next step in our problem. So we have 8 plus 14 equals 22. So it's really important with these problems that you always remember to do the parentheses first. 24 divided by 3. So what I want you to do now are these two problems all by yourself. I want you to pause the video, work these problems out, and then when you press play, I will have the answers. It's important to know that I want you to write this out first and then proceed with the problem. So I want you to pause the video now. Okay, so we have our answers here, and I have the steps that I used to complete these problems. So for the first one, we have 8 times 3 minus a. We know that the value of a was 6. So what we did is we multiplied 8 times 3 first because that was in the parentheses. They gave us 24. We took 6 away, giving us the grand total of 18 for the first one. For the next one, 4 times b divided by 5. Okay, the value of b was 10. So what we did is we plugged in that 10 for the variable. 4 times 10, we know that gave us 40 right here. Okay, then we had 40 divided by 5 for a grand total of 8. Okay, so that concludes this video taking a look at variables and expressions. If you have any questions about this concept, feel free to rewind the video, watch some of these problems over again, and most of all, please come and see me.